Hello, welcome back, my favorite movement enthusiasts. Are you looking to improve your hip mobility? No? Then why the are you looking to improve your hip mobility? Yes? Then you've come to the right place. Today I will give you my totally unbiased professional opinion on the top 3 exercises for hip mobility, and just because it's you and I know nothing about you, we will have multiple levels for each of these exercises. So even if you're a total beginner or if you are super advanced, you'll find something beneficial from all 3 of them. So if you're ready, let's get you started. Now let's start out with the easiest exercise first, just so we don't overwhelm me, because I just woke up. We're gonna lean back, bring both hands to the ground, open our feet a little bit wider than shoulder width apart, and combine internal with external hip rotation. Sit back and reverse the whole movement. Now, depending on your own mobility, you will either be able to bring both knees to full contact with the ground, or you won't. The good thing about this exercise is that we're not only working on our hip mobility, but we're also working on our knee mobility as well, our ankle mobility slightly if we push our feet all the way flat to the ground and switching laterally, but we're also having included lumbar spinal rotation, which is always a great bonus to have when we're working on our hip mobility, because our hips and our lower back as well as our core are intrinsically working together. Being limber and flexible in one is not good enough, and we need to combine all of these areas together so our hips can be very loose and limber. Now that we've seen level number 1, if you are more advanced, we're gonna get into a deep squat position and combine the internal and external rotation from here, either with our hands behind our head if we have enough core strength, or if we don't, we can bring our hands to the ground and switch from here. Internal and external rotation, stand your legs back up, or if you do have the core strength, internal and external rotation. You can even add a little bit more lumbar and even thoracic rotation if you want to, and then reverse the movement. Now in this level we require a lot more core strength. We're gonna even strengthen our hip flexors instead of just working on their mobility, and we are working on our total body coordination as well. Now here we have an added bonus of not only more knee mobility as well, but also more ankle mobility, because we're rolling over our ankles and lengthening them in a complete extension before we reverse roll over them again. And this is gonna give us a nice bonus when it comes to all kinds of exercises that require a lot of ankle mobility. For instance, the pistol squat, where we have to switch from here into a complete squat movement and reverse. Final level for this exercise is increasing the range of motion even more by bringing our entire body down towards the ground, which is going to open up our quadriceps and hip flexors even more, increase the spinal rotation that we have, and give us a little bit more range of motion to work with. Now we can always bring our hands behind our head for that extra additional core strength bonus, move down, and then reverse the entirety. Internal and external hip rotation, complete lumbar and thoracic spinal rotation all the way down, and reverse. Exercise number 1 done. Our second exercise will be a complete Cossack stretch, and we're gonna once more start with the easiest level first. So all you have to do from here is switch external hip rotation, push your knee outwards, have them following your toes. So our feet are slightly turned outwards and we have them flat on the ground for the first level. Now, depending on your range of motion, you can sit down deeper and deeper into this movement. We're working on our adductors, we're working on our hips, and we're also working a little bit on our posterior chain. We're gonna increase that with the coming levels. So once you do have the mobility to get your femur parallel to the ground or slightly lower, meaning your hip crease lower than your knee. We're gonna move on to the next level, which is raising the heel so we can sit down all the way. Foot is still flat on the ground. That's very important because we are working on our adductors first. So move all the way up. Raise your heel, go into a deep squat position on the right side, and then reverse. Full extension and sit down, deep squat to the left side. Now we're gonna add a posterior chain stretch as well by the tiniest change, turning our foot upwards. So this adductor, this hamstrings. Adductor, hamstrings. All the way up. Raise your heel, sit into a full Cossack stretch and turn up, pull your toes in. Now we are at level number 2, but there is still a lot more range of motion to be taken. So next level, we will bring our knee all the way down to the ground and sit our butt as well as our entire extended leg down on the floor. Now we have even more ankle mobility, additional knee mobility as always with every single exercise that we'll be doing for our hips. We'll very likely have additional knee and ankle mobility as well. From here, we want to either use our own strength to sit up, or if you do not have that, you can have your hands on the ground so you can slow down the movement and help yourself out with the strength requiring part. This will also help you concentrate more on the flexibility part. If you, however, want to add a strength focus to your mobility routine, then be sure to use your controlled movements through hip flexion, abdominal flexion to pull you up, and of course we're using our quads to push us into that extended leg position, which is here. So now that we're all the way down with full contact, there is still a little bit more range of motion to be had. We are going to switch and either push our hip forward to include a little bit more hip flexor stretch, or move towards the foot to include a little bit more posterior chain stretch. So switch it up, raise your heel, sit down all the way, either add hip mobility or add posterior chain mobility, or even do both. So we switch sides, go into the semi-hip thrust, sit down all the way, touch our feet, and then switch positions. Sit down all the way, hip thrust, grab those toes, and reverse the movement. Now there is one additional bonus I want to give you. Instead of moving up all the way, what you can do is push your hips down in the side switch, which is gonna help you work a little bit more on your hip mobility in a different way. Not better, not worse, but combining the low Cossack switches with the high Cossack switches is gonna make the exercise even more effective. Exercise number 2. Done. Coming to our final exercise, we're going to combine both strength and mobility in a single movement pattern. We're gonna sit down with one leg fully extended and on our other foot. From here, we're gonna switch between a lunging position, which is gonna lengthen our hip flexors and our quadriceps, as well as our lower abdominals if they're really tight on one side. And then when we sit back down, we're gonna strengthen our core and hip flexors on the other side in conjunction with our quadriceps. So we're switching between a lunging position and a strengthening position, a stretching position on the right side, a strengthening position on the left side. And if you are struggling with balance or core strength, having your hands on the ground is absolutely no problem. Switch here, push forward, bring your knees over your toes to include even more ankle and knee mobility as promised before. Reverse and keep that extended leg fully flexed. You can even pull your toes in for an additional gastrocnemius and soleus stretch. So forward, push, and reverse. Now, to make this one a little bit harder, we're gonna have to switch sitting positions into this one. And now we're gonna include the hip flexor and core strength into the first part only of what we call a pistol squat. So pull that leg in, use your hip flexor and abdominal strength to sit up, raise that one leg and sit back down, go into full extension. We're pulling that leg in, a nice little stretch in our glutes and the upper insertions of our hamstrings, strengthening part for our hip flexors on the left side and then for our hip flexors on the right side. Sit back down, extend and repeat. Now this one is very advanced. It's going to require a lot of strength, a lot of balance and a lot of mobility. So if you do not know how to do a pistol squat, and if you want to learn it, here is an entire video going into detail, step by step, on how you can achieve it easily. And there we have it. 3 exercises that have between 2 and 4 different levels, so you can work from either a beginner hip mobility level or a more advanced mobility level. Sadly, however, once again, this is all the time I have left for you today, but if you like the video and subscribe and check out other videos on this channel, because we have new ones every single day. So until tomorrow, Captain Cairo, peace out.